What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gersh1.
And today we're back at it answering your questions in another installment of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewers. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first.
And this question is one that was asked not in the current Greater Wall, but in a week ago Greater Wall?
Or like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks, yeah.
And we've just forgot to mention it because we wanted to make it a number one question. I don't remember who it was, but basically you asked, what are your top 5 tips for starting Warhammer 40K? I'm guessing tabletop.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you our 5 tips. So technically it's 10.
Yeah.
We might have the same ones.
So should we start least important to most important, or most important to least important?
However you want to do it.
Okay.
I think mine are just random.
All right, so I'll go first, because why not? So I think the most important tip when starting Warhammer 40K is doing your research. Don't just walk into a GW store and just start buying things willy-nilly for multiple reasons. One, it's an expensive hobby, and 2, there is some structure to the game. So do your research. Know that you need an HQ, you need troops, you need the codex, you need the rule book, and just know that you're not going to be playing right off the bat.
Yeah, and that's a mistake that we did when we first started playing. I think that day they had we were kids, we were like really, really young, and we walked in there, it was 3 of us, and we were ready to start this hobby, and we wanted the guy who normally tries to coax you into the store and like sell you stuff, we wanted him to explain what the game was, and he was having a bad day, so he was a straight up bitch. He was just like, well, I mean, it's a game, you play it, those are the factions. And then he went off to like some other group of kids. I think it was like a party that was going on.
Yeah, there was a birthday going on. That's probably why.
Yeah, and then and they were also kids. Mm-hmm. So then like we were just kind of like, what do we do? So we all pitched in and we got 1 box, not knowing how to play the game, not knowing what the game was about. And like 4 boxes later, we finally kind of understood.
Yeah.
Not that it was a waste of money, because it was still a lot of fun, like buying, painting, and like building those miniatures.
Because we actually built it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a Space Wolf box, and nobody in the group plays Space Wolves anymore.
Yeah. The third person that was with us, like, I haven't seen him in years.
Oh yeah. Power Surge.
Oh, yeah. He had the power. He had the curls for the girls.
He did. But yeah, good tip. One of my tips is going to be try to understand what draws you into the hobby and really focus in on that, so you have different aspects of it. So I guess I would say like understand what the different aspects of the hobby are. So you have the lore, which is basically what the entire channel is dedicated to. It's just like the mythology. If you're into like what color was Mace Windu's lightsaber type of thing in Star Wars, you're probably going to be into the lore of Warhammer 40K. And then, so there's lore, there's the actual tabletop. So if you like that, check out like a bunch of like tabletop tactics.
Play on 40K.
Yeah, those types of
mini war
game. Yeah. Those are like excellent for you, and it's all about like competition. Those are the people that I least like within the hobby. I don't like people who are competitive on the tabletop or know all the rules and point them out. Because that's annoying. But if you like that, that's good for you.
Well, I mean, if you want to go into like tournaments and become a really good player, you kind of have to be a rules lawyer.
Yeah, you have to know your stuff. And then there's like the actual collecting. So you like to collect the miniatures because you're a hoarder, and one day we're going to see you on the Hoarder TV show. And that is different than painting, because you could definitely be a collector and just buy already painted minis on eBay or with your friends, and then just have like a glass cabinet where you keep your miniatures and stuff like that are painted by somebody else. However, if you're into like the painting aspect of it, boom, like that's like a completely different world all in itself. Check out like Miniac and all those types of like painting,
Sculpting Conversions.
Well, I would say that's even a different one, yeah, because like if you're into kit bash, because there's some really awesome kit bashers on Instagram who don't paint their minis because they're not that great, or I don't know why. Like, I'm not gonna put words in their mouth or anything, but like there are some really awesome sculpts that they make, but then they get somebody else to paint them, because painting itself is like a really long, drawn out process. I actually like to sit down and build the miniatures, not so much paint them. So I think kit bashing and like building your own miniatures is like something completely different. It's a lot of fun too, but you just kind of have to understand what aspect of the hobby you enjoy, and then if you ever have like a slow point where like your friends don't want to play with you, or like you just don't feel it anymore, experiment with the other aspects, or just really dive into your own very specific aspect.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like, as you bring all these different aspects, I could already pinpoint, like, what certain players in our play group like. Mm-hmm. Like, we definitely have, like, the min-maxer, the guy that wants his army to be the strongest, what rules he can combine, what are the best units to maximize on.
Yeah, he does not get happy when we sit down to paint, or, like, we have a day where we're just going to chill. He really wants to be on the tabletop, winning.
Yep.
And if he doesn't, he says he's hungry and he wants to quit the game.
That's true.
Because that's who he is.
It's like, I'm losing turn 2. Like, I'm done. Yeah. It's either he's dominating the entire game or we're going to eat.
Yeah. He has a headache. He's hungover.
He's some excuse.
There you go. What's your next tip?
No, I kind of alluded to it at the end of my first one. Know that this is not a game that you could just dive right into. This, like we were talking about, there are multiple stages to the game. You have to build your models, paint your models, figure out what type of game you're playing. It's something that's going to take time. You have to have patience. It's not like you can just bust out Monopoly and play it right away. You can't just bust out 40K and play it right away. Unless you get your armies done, painted, built on eBay, or like you trade it with a friend or something. Mm-hmm. Know that, this is going to take some time. Even if you buy starter sets, you still have to get a table to play on, find terrain. It's a very different type of game. It's not instant gratification. It takes time.
Right. My other tip would be kind of going off of what you were saying. It's okay not to have fun while you're playing the game. I have experienced that many times, because going back to like the whole different aspects of the hobby, I really like creating the lore for my homebrew whatever. I really like building miniatures, but when I'm actually on the tabletop and it hits like hour 2 and we're still on turn 2, it just becomes a situation of like, oh, this is not fun. And that's okay, and that's because you're learning the rules, and once you learn all the rules, then you're gonna like breeze through like a turn instead of saying like, wait, hold on, what does the big mech do? Wait, how do I use this weapon? What do I have to roll? Because that does like slow down the game, but just know that there's a learning curve. And depending on what aspect you like of the hobby, that learning curve might be longer or shorter. Because sometimes you don't really care to sit there and like read your codex and try to learn what each weapon is. You'll say, I'll just pull it up on Battlescribe the day of.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
You're right. The other thing too is that I'd say this is not like the most important thing, but know that it's okay to lose. Because so many times we've gone against like people who've got like this brand new model that they just painted up and they put it on the battlefield, and it's like, well, it got shot turn 1, like I didn't even get to move or use it. And it's like, yeah, that kind of is a blow on you, because it's like, oh, I really wanted to try out my new model. And it's like, well, it's gone now. So you just have to understand that this is a game of chance. It's you're rolling dice. Not everything's going to go your way. And just, sit back and accept that, it's a game of probability.
Yes.
You have fun sometimes. You win, you lose. It's, it's going to happen.
Yeah. And then my next tip would be save money by asking, when it's your birthday, when it's an anniversary, when it's like Christmas, ask for minis. When I was younger, I honestly didn't buy miniatures ever. It was always Christmas or my birthday or like at a special occasion that somebody would buy them for me. It wasn't until like probably my 20s that I finally started buying my own minis. So take advantage of that. You save money, and
Yeah. Also, make a wish list. That way, you know what models you want to get, and so like if birthday comes around, boom, it's like you got a list to pick from.
Yes. What is that? That's 3 each of us.
I believe so. So my 4th one is be creative. When it comes to 40K, it's easy to just look at what's the best thing out currently, and that's not always going to be the right thing to do, because if you're just going to go for the best units in this edition, the next edition is going to come and it might just flip them completely around, making you need to spend more money to buy the next best thing, and that's going to get expensive really quick. So kind of know a play style that you kind of want to focus in. Like, let's say you want to be all about shooting. Maybe the Tau is what you want to go with. Or maybe you really like the lore about the Iron Hands and you want to play vehicles no matter if they're good or bad, so go that route. That way you're not just constantly buying the meta and spending more money and just having your models that were good one time just sit on the shelf for the rest of the next edition.
Yeah. My other tip would be kind to the people in your play group. If you don't have a play group and you go to the Warhammer store, understand that not everybody is in there because of the same reason. Mm-hmm. Some people just go there to hang out. Like, they don't even have minis to build. They just want to sit at the table and just talk about the latest lore or the latest news, stuff like that.
New models that just came out.
Yeah, so like if you go around and you're that guy who's like, oh, what type of game you playing? Oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you make your list like that?
Or like, why are you playing Ultramarines? These are like, obviously they're painted in like Dark Angel colors.
Yeah, and also understand that like the community at like the store, guys sometimes are weird. So just like be accepting of everybody's quirks. Mm-hmm. 'Cause you probably have some too. I know I do. But like sometimes when you talk to people, just be nice. There will be some interesting characters that you meet, and then just try to like build a play group with those interesting people and kind of play off of those weird characteristics, I guess.
Sometimes it's fun, because I remember back in the day I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In tournaments and stuff like that. Yeah. And you always had that one guy that would like pretend like he's in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. So he'd be very animated, he'd change his voice, he'd be very over the top with his moves. He'd like shake your deck as he's blowing it apart with Exodia, causing you to fall into postpartum depression. But hey, it's part of the game. Yeah, who are you to say, like, stop having fun? That's not how we play. We're here to be, all serious and not have fun. We're here just to win. No, like, if everybody's there to enjoy themselves.
At the core of it, that's what I mean. Yeah, just everybody's there for their own reason. Be nice and don't drag anybody down. Just for whatever reason. It doesn't necessarily even have to be the game. But if you go in there and just start talking stuff about randomness, don't do that either.
So, why'd you paint that way? If you do the dry brushing here and this, it's like, chances are they don't want to hear it either.
Right. Yeah. And then last one.
Last one is know that if you get tired of 40K, it's okay. Take a break. I mean, the hobby I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon. If you don't like the edition that is currently, being played, go back to older editions. Wait for the new edition to come out, and that way you could kind of take a step back and see, like, oh wow, codices have been going up in price, year after year. Why is that?
Inflation. No. Yeah. It's more than that.
Mm-hmm. It's like, why is a box of Necron Warriors $45 when I could pay $50 for a box of those same Warriors with Primaris Marines?
Yeah, it's crazy? I remember the $25 boxes for like, was it 20? Yeah.
Guardsmen?
20 Guardsmen. That's freaking amazing. 25 for 25 Guardsmen? 25 for 20 Guardsmen.
Now it's like $50 for 10 Guardsmen.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, so it's like, take a step back, see the hobby for what it is. Don't just get like lost in, the Void Dragon is coming out and it's a $110 model and look how fragile it is. So kind of, it gives you some perspective to the hobby. And that could be said with anything. Like, we used to play Magic the Gathering, and it's like, well, I'm spending $40 for like a fat pack when I could just be spending $40 to get that one card I want. Is it worth it? Is it not?
And you kind of have to measure it out, because if you're the type of person, going back to like the phases, like, or the different like aspects of it, if you're the type of person that's a min-max, or you're there to play the game and to win the game, you're probably going to be chasing the top tier army, which is okay. If you want to do that, do that. But find a group that's going to also enjoy that. Because if not, then you just become like an asshole who always plays a competitive list, and I'm over here bringing my Killicons, and it's like, well, Killicons aren't going to do shit. I'm just playing them because I have them built and I want to play them on the battlefield. So yeah, just
Right, and not just
goes
that,
both ways,
but know if like you've got the strongest army in the meta currently right now, and you're playing against like Dark Eldar or something that's not good. Know that hey, maybe crushing this guy in turn 1 isn't going to be the funnest game.
Oh yeah, well, this is like an extra bonus tip. If you're introducing somebody to the hobby, let them win the first game, or go easy on them. I wouldn't say like completely, just like act out like you don't know how to play the game, but like you should bring a non-competitive list just so that they can have fun.
Right. I mean, you can still win, but don't just crush them. Because I remember one of your first games of Magic the Gathering, you got mana screwed, so you didn't even get to play the game. And I mean, that's not anybody's fault. That's just the way the cards were drawn.
Yeah.
So know that if a player comes in playing all HQs and like 2 troops, and you're playing a game of objectives, kind of forget about the objectives for a few turns. That way you can actually play the game, show them how like charging works, the fight combat, and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. And then finally, the last one for me is going to be, if you're trying to save money, proxying is okay. But again, find the group that's okay with that.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is just like if you buy a squad of Pathfinders, you play them as regular Fire Warriors. You don't. I mean, it's kind of the same model anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Just the gun changes. But like, so proxying is okay to a certain extent. Don't bring pieces of paper. We had one guy who did that, and it was ridiculous.
Because when you bring pieces of paper, it's like, well, how big's the sculpt? Do I have line of sight to it? And
he was just an asshole.
He just wanted to play just to like, I don't know, rub it in our faces that, oh, you guys spent all this money. Look at me playing with pennies and stuff.
That's true. Yeah. So don't be that guy. But also eBay. eBay's really good for minis. You could probably find a $40 box on eBay for like $25. So.
Yeah, not just that, but if you find broken models, you could easily just re-glue them or green stuff.
Yep, that's where the kit bashing comes in, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Or you could make a really awesome diorama. Because I saw that this guy had a demon prince that was literally cut in half. Like it was just the top half. And I don't know how or where, but I saw the same sculpt on eBay again, but like it was like a bunch of like cultists summoning a demon.
Oh, and like he's going up with smoke and stuff.
Yeah, there's smoke and like the base is all dynamic and everything, so it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And those are our tips. We kind of went
all over the place.
Yeah.
And, this could have been a whole video.
Yeah.
But on to the other questions. Good question though. This one is by Dragon Punch 903. Who would be your number 1 actor that you'd choose to become a Space Marine sculpt on the tabletop? I'd say that Randy Couture fits the look. The UFC guy, I assume that's his name, maybe.
Who's Randy Couture? I can't remember what he looks like.
Bald.
Oh, the Iceman they called him?
I think that was,
Oh.
I think I'm getting Goldberg mixed up with him.
Goldberg will be another good one. I think he would be a really good sculpt. I've seen Vladimir Putin as a Space Marine.
Yeah. The Rock, would he work? I don't know, because I feel like he's such a... Like, you look at The Rock and you see The Rock. You don't see the character he plays.
Yeah, I think that would be more of like, like an exciting, like, maybe The Rock will be an actor in the movie.
Oh, that reminds me. Freaking Mini Wargaming did a whole expendable, like, campaign thing. So you got Arnold, you got Rambo.
For the Catachan?
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them. So,
that's cool.
Yeah. But who would I want to be as a sculpt?
Rey Mysterio.
It's just a mask. Bridget B as a demonette of Slanesh.
Yeah, of course, you can't go wrong. She's dummy thick. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have a specific actor that I think like, oh, that's my favorite actor, and I would like to see him as a Space Marine. I've never thought of that.
Yeah, same.
I have thought of, because when I watched Blade Runner, I did think of
Batista?
No, not Batista. The other guy.
Harrison Ford.
No,
the main one.
Yeah.
Oh,
what's his name? From Blade Runner.
From The Notebook.
And La La Land.
Yeah. Well,
that guy, I thought he would be a really good Inquisitor.
I could see him.
Like a radical Inquisitor, but like still learning the ropes. So that's the only time I've ever thought like, oh, this would be cool. Yeah.
I could see like what's his name? Danny Trejo.
Which one's that one?
Machete.
Oh yeah. As a Space Marine, that would be cool.
He's like in the was it the Crimson Fists?
Yeah.
Con Pedro Cantor.
This is going to be our last question by Bunny Hop. What's your least favorite GW model and why?
To me, it's the original Tyranids because they look so cartoony and so out of place. But I think everything looked that way back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
And
the
metal
Space
models.
Marines.
Metal models in general. Because I remember when I first started collecting them, I had an Abaddon, and he was the metal model, and his arms were just a pain. I used glue. I used hot glue, putty. Nothing worked.
You know, I've been actually looking for a metal model for the Mega Knob.
Why is that?
They just look cool. They're very like... Whereas
Swole.
now... Yeah, blocky. Whereas now they're more like articulate,
Dynamic,
I
yeah.
guess. But yeah, I kind of agree. The old Tyranid models are pretty bad. If it's a recent one, I would have to say Gilliman. I don't like the way Gilliman looks. His proportions are way off. So, yeah.
But it might just be that he's normal proportions, but maybe his armor. No, that's not it. No.
He just looks weird. I think they could have done a better job just because you look at the Forge World sculpts. For Gilliman. The Gilliman Forge World sculpt looks amazing. Why not just take that and then put it in GW?
Well, you gotta twist it a little bit because it's been 10,000 years.
And like make him more cartoony and give him like weird proportions? No.
Well, you know what they say. 10,000 years can give you such a crick in the neck.
Where's that from?
Robin Williams when he was Genie.
I thought Mulan with the dragon.
Oh, that's Mushu. Did he say that?
It felt like he said
When he came out? It might have been. They were both in small places for 10,000 years.
And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
This has been The Sound Alchemist.
Gershwin.
And we are out.
Oh, if you could put my feet